It's that time after a new pack for The Sims 4 comes out where you lot have a lot to ask me. Of course, this is my cross-pack compatibility video where I put the brand new release up against all the other packs, kind of test what is and isn't possible when it comes to the gameplay between everything we already have in the game and, of course, in this instance, Enchanted by nature. Now, this is exactly how I know you lot are messy and you love drama in your game, because obviously the biggest question was, how do fairies interact with other occults? We are used to having The Sims 3 Supernatural, and obviously that meant that a couple of those occults had like different interactions and different relationships with one another. Shout out to those of you who have watched my Supernatural Let's Play. You may recognize a couple of the Sims that I have decided to use specifically for this video, but I have pretty much every occult minus a ghost. I imagine fairies are just like acquaintances with ghosts. I can't see there being like any particular beef, but when it comes to aliens, which were part of Get to Work, they are just like acquaintances from the get-go. They pretty much have like the 15 friendship value that everyone starts out with. With mermaids, however, they are actually already friends with mermaids. This is straight out of Create a Sim. Obviously, all of these Sims are living together, so that's my basis for these relationships. They already have a friendship value of 40. They also have a pretty good relationship with these two animals out of Create a Sim. We have a little unicorn, 33 friendship value, and a cat, which is also 33. Werewolves, again, we are friends with. Fairies have a friendship value of 40 with werewolves straight out Create Sim. However, they do have a little bit of beef between vampires and spellcasters. So minus 10 with the spellcasters and also another minus 10 with the vampires. Obviously, Sims 4 doesn't have like one-way relationships, so they feel the same way about fairies that fairies feel about them. However, the only one that the spellcaster dislikes is fairies, which maybe they're just a little bit jealous, you know? Fairies are coming for their magic. Smell here. See if we get any notes of fairy. That just, I think, made us sniff our environment. I don't think it made us sniff anyone in particular, but girlie, can you get out of there, please, Faye? I would like you to reveal your fairy form, and fairies actually did have a super cute little, like, interaction with werewolves where they could basically like play around them and kind of like annoy werewolves a little bit. So let's go social. Discuss fairy traditions, flood with laughter, pretend to be interested in non-fairy sim traditions, and what does hangry mean? So definitely doesn't feel like there's anything particular that they can do with werewolves. No social interaction listed under that. However, now that we have Love Struck also included in this, it used to be that we could just look at the traits, sexual orientation, career, and likes and dislikes. However, now we also can learn about attraction and turn-ons and turn-offs. Faye has learned about Tate's attraction towards her. Oh, open that profile. Faye's romantic feelings about Tate, neutral. Tate's romantic feelings about Faye are also neutral. Oh, so even though he got enraged, I was thinking of the sniff and introduce, but apparently when they sniff around and they don't know a sim, like they don't know an occult, it will actually show the occult. So let's smell it here. I'm imagining this is just for people like we don't know. Oh no, there we go. So she is giving off like the vampire stench. The cat is giving off, I think maybe the moodlet thing. Where is Faye? She's over here. Right, let's go and smell here. I just didn't know what I was particularly looking for. Ooh, seems to give off like a little, I don't know, like green, would you call this? Greeny pink. Like it feels very neutral, which makes sense for fairies. I think it's because of like the outfit that she's wearing as well. I think it is definitely green, which fairies being like a green thumb definitely makes sense that fairies would glow at this like green and have like little sparkles over them. What is that smell? Ooh, a little dazed. Something smells weird. I think that the vampire actually gives you an angry moodlet, so I think this one may be the one that we are looking for fairies. A lot of you also wanted to know if there was like any special moodlet of like a vampire sim, like drinking from a fairy. So we are going to try that. Drink plasma, ask for permission, compel for a deep drink. We're just gonna compel for a small drink. I know that she won't say yes to us, considering she already dislikes us. They can drink from fairy sims all fine. Tate is like, this makes me dislike you and even more, actually. Sanguinary, I think. That plasma really hit the spot. So she did get like a happy, like confident moodlet from that. So I don't know if that's anything special with fairies. Maybe we should actually try to compel Tate for a small drink, because I imagine they like don't like the taste of werewolf blood. Oh, yeah, there you go. Disgusting dog water. I think that was just like the default, to be completely honest. I don't think that was anything too special for drinking from a fairy. It wasn't like we got like mystical blood or anything. Obviously with paranormal stuff, we did actually get the medium skill, which you can practice over here. So let's see if this seems to be getting up any faster. I guess they are an occult sim. I think some occults this can actually go up quicker, which it seems to be like, I don't know, it seems to be going pretty fast, but I don't really ever pay attention to like skill gain all that much. In 3-speed, it looks like it's kind of going up like 1% a second, which maybe that's like a higher increase. You should let me know down in the comments. Do you think that's going up quicker than it should? Keep in mind, she is only a level 1, so obviously she is like getting into it. And I feel like at the beginning of any skill, like it gets up so fast anyway. Unfortunately, something that hasn't been made around fairies is the moonstone crystal when it comes to crystal creations. Now, moonstone affects a couple of the occults. Vampire Sim's thirst needs decay slower. Spellcaster Sim is more successful when casting spells and brewing potions. Werewolf Sim's fury will build slower and rampages will end faster. They haven't added anything onto this from what I can see when it comes to fairies. I highly doubt they've just like forgot to add the text on if this does have any gameplay benefits. So I'm assuming this actually doesn't have any gameplay. Just the same way that it didn't have any gameplay added onto Ghost. Ooh, we got some fairy dust on the floor. Now, loads of you were asking if spellcasters could actually copy pasto this, and they absolutely can from the looks of it. He's using his magic, and yeah, this is being copy and pasted. So there's just like different ones popping up, which is nice to see. I mean, I personally never really felt like I ran out of fairy dust. So if you have been feeling like you've been struggling a little bit, always remember that you can go pick up your ration of like 5 a day if you go to the fairy hub. You can also like shake a fairy home. Ooh, he's transforming. You can shake for fairy dust, and anytime your fairy like showers or brushes fairy dust off them or plays in the sink, fairy dust will also occur. Now, if we go over to Everdew, this is something I've been thinking about ever since I played this, obviously with just the pack and base game, is the teleportation stone, which is placed somewhere around here in the Everdew neighborhood. This actually can take you to secret lots, and I've been wondering if it can bring you to anywhere except just the base game Forgotten Grotto. I always go off like the big tree lot. It's literally just down the end of the path from the big tree lot, but we can teleport to. This consumes 1 fairy dust. Sylvan Glade is the other base game one. Teleport to Forgotten Grotto is the cave found in Oasis Springs, which no longer means that you need to be a handiness level 10. Teleport to the Magic Realm, the arcane world whose portal resides in Glimmerbrook. Teleport to Sixam, which That is so overpowered. And anyone can access this because there is no challenge. There's no like story to get you into Everdew. I think like crafting your own like fake wings if you're a human, or maybe trying to find like a fairy to put a spell on you that gives you like temporary wings, the way you can become a temporary ghost in like life and death. I feel like there should be a barrier to actually enter Everdew, but there isn't. So you can just teleport to Sixam now, which is wild. The alien world, of course, introduced with Get to Work. You usually either have to get your rocket science up to a level 10 to be able to upgrade the rocket ship to have a wormhole portal, or you have to be in like level 8, 9, 10, one of those in the scientist career. So this has truly knocked out like a couple of hours of gameplay at least. And then teleport to Mount Komorebi Peak, which again, that is like probably a couple of hours at least, because you have to be a climbing level 6 to be able to get that. And climbing skill is probably the slowest and hardest skill to actually get up, but now you can just go to the highest peak. Now, there was a couple of things that I wanted to check out between like spellcasters and fairies. Obviously, we already know about their relationship, but I know a ton of you have been asking if fairies can have the familiars that spellcasters can. I'm gonna say this is a big fat no. And I don't know why they are gatekeeping those familiars. I'll be completely real with you. I feel like familiars don't do anything in this game. I think they just look really, really cute. I'm also fairly sure that we won't be able to use wands, even though fairies technically do have magical powers, which I think would be quite a cute little crossover. We're gonna get Orb of the Fairy. We're also gonna get Raven and Sixam Owl. Look, like we could be Glinda, forged out of moonstones and imbued with astral vapors. This wand holds the power to 1,000,000 galaxies. But if we go on fairy, there's like no option to use that. I guess if we go into our inventory, we have the wand, but we can't like add it to our favorites. We can't like use as favorite wands. So therefore, unfortunately, fairies cannot use wands, confirmed. And also when it comes to these, you must be a spellcaster to bind familiars. Womp womp. Useless, boring. Honestly, I'm sad about that. Like brooms, not so much, because we can also like instantly fly here already. So like that I'm not fussed about whatsoever, but I do really wish that they could choose to use wands if they wanted to. I do think that is a missed opportunity when it comes to gameplay. I also kind of wish the life and death neighborhood, I know again it's not like a secret neighborhood that has like any difficulty to get into and you can just like travel there through your map view, but I kind of wish that that was an option on the teleportation stone as well, because it does feel like it is in some way tied to a cult, especially with like ghosts. Like I wish that you could travel to Morning Vale, but we're actually gonna head on over here just so I can show you that I'm fairly sure, this is what I'm assuming, that fairies, obviously they can become ghosts. I'm assuming it works like any other occult if you have life and death, where they still have their own like fairy skill tree, and then they also on top of that have their ghost occult. Not gonna lie, I've already like forgotten how to become a temporary ghost. Like I don't just think you swim in it. Oh, for some weird reason, fairies actually can't have an out-of-body experience. That feels really weird because I know that they can be ghosts. I also really want to check if doing other magic, not just fairy magic, but any form of magic in the coast of Ardmore actually like has any repercussion. Truly gonna guess that it probably doesn't, just because the repercussion for this is becoming like a problem fairy and therefore not being allowed to pick up your ration from the fairy hub of fairy dust. And I just don't think there's going to be like any repercussion for any other occult in this neighborhood. Perfect. It is also snowing here because someone asked obviously the neighborhood, and then also did these leave any different footprints in the snow, and they do not. Oh, I do kind of wish that the hooves left the same marks as the horse prints, even though I know that they don't have like shoes on them. I know that it probably isn't likely to snow in effigy because Mother Nature actually like admits that she did something wrong. Copy, pasto. Boom. Oh, okay. They are noticing it. They are looking shocked that we have just like performed some magic. I don't know if that's the reaction to all spellcasters, like, all the time, but they're not getting any, like, pop-up that's like, hey, you probably shouldn't do this. I can't even get this to work for, like, other people to witness me doing fairy interactions, so I can't even get the problem fairy notification, which this worked in early access, like, super easily. I literally got seen, like, doing fairy powers, like, twice over, and they were like, you're banned, do not come to my town, whereas this time around, it's just like not popping whatsoever. Oop, here we go, emotionally ravenous. We are dying from emotional starvation. I really just want to do this to obviously show you fairy ghosts and how they don't really differ. Oh no, oh no, oh no, Victoria, you're not meant to be passing away as well. That wasn't a green card for all of you to pass away. Oh my god. I am definitely gonna have to... There you go. So you can see the fairy wings. She still has her wings. Obviously, she still has like all of her fairy ability available to her. But if you then go to your Simology, you also have the Ghost Mastery available to you, just like all the other occults. This is actually the fairy urn, which is so flippin' cute. I love it. And then if we actually display this as a gravestone, this is the fairy gravestone, which again is super, super cute. Like all these kind of like flowers around it, and also this like rainbow pattern going on, which also shifts. Now, Harry does actually know how to brew the potion of good fortune, and I wanted to see if this maybe had any effect on a sim's look, because obviously now every sim does have luck tied to them. So he is actually having a bad luck day. If he manages to make this potion well, I'm really hoping that if he drinks it, it could potentially bring his luck up. That's what I would expect. I kind of doubt that they have done this though. I don't really think that these like types of like smaller things are on like the top of their mind. Oh no, has this gone bad? We're gonna bottle that all up. It didn't look great, I'm not gonna lie. A potion to find helpful items whilst doing everyday activities. You are gonna drink that for me, buddy, and let's have a little look at his look. Oh, oh my god, it actually... No way. Okay, Sims team. Props. Can we get ourselves to having like a good look day? I really wasn't expecting that. I feel like these like smaller things are sometimes like forgotten about. I don't think we can get it to like be good look. Let's give one to Faye. She's already on like neutral look. We are not going to put that away. Please, can you drink it? Considering she hasn't taken one, let's see if hers goes up to having like good look after she drinks this. Oh my god, it does! So it changes your look once. Okay. There you have it. That is a really, really cool little head nod. I'm so glad that that was included. Now, I know a lot of you have been like, is there anything for fairies when it comes to like unicorns? Which we all just know that unicorns are in horses' clothing in The Sims 4. Oh my god, she still doesn't have like her wings out. Get your wings out for the lads. It doesn't feel like they can do anything particular, but we are gonna go for a relaxed ride because a lot of you were like, I hope fairies keep their wings out like once they're on the back of a horse. Oh, oh, oh no. She lost her wings, so unfortunately it doesn't look like fairies can have their... Oh! Okay, cool. That's exactly how I was expecting it to go. I'm not gonna lie. Let's conceal that fairy form and bring it back up. I just want to double check that that definitely isn't a glitch reveal your fairy form, and then go and try to mount that horse. Yep, as soon as she goes to mount the horse, boom, fairy wings go away. So unfortunately, fairies can't ride horses with their wings out. I know some of you are going to be upset by that. Of course, with cottage living, we did get the introduction of oversized plants. So I am going to plant a couple of those oversized crops. Because someone did ask, do the new fairy abilities that we got for gardening also help with the cottage living, like overgrown crops? Now, this fairy right here does have all of the nature ones. The two most important ones, or three, I guess, is nurture nature, which you can do on a plant or an animal. Through phase magic, plants become watered with no weeds or bugs, whilst animals are cured of any illnesses and become very happy. And then you also have enchant plant. They can directly enchant any plant until the enchantment wears off. The plant grows faster, stays fully watered, weeded, and has no bugs. Then there is also growth eruption, grows all nearby plants to maturity, and bloom plant. So we are going to plant those seeds and then try and get them to maturity. Fairy, we can't bloom it just yet, but that's because it requires a mature plant. That is a self-use one, so you can go fairy and then growth eruption. Let's see if this is gonna have an effect on this mushroom. Yes, it did. Okay, so it is now fine. It's in season. It is good watered. Okay, so it's already blooming. So growth eruption actually on the bigger plants means that you don't even have to do the bloom. I wondered if they could potentially sleep on it, because I know they can sleep in dollhouses, and I know they can sleep on pianos. I was just wondering if they could like, they can only shrink and play, which basically just like sizes them down and then they disappear into it and then it starts like jiggling. Nice little note. I actually planted the mushroom inside, obviously after I couldn't do it outside because it was too cold to plant anything. Then I used the maturity one and then I moved it back outside, just like in build and buy mode, enchanted it, and it turns out you can actually get around seasonal effects on plants due to fairies. If you enchant a plant, they have the chance to like grow faster. They also don't need to be watered and weeded and sprayed for bugs in like the 2 days that the enchantment lasts. Oh, it's 3 days actually. And then now I can harvest those mushrooms. So I will get a harvest every single day that it is actually enchanted. That's sick. Okay, that's a little bit beefy, I'm not gonna lie. Mind you, you do need to have a fairy in your household with... No, you don't actually, because regular Sims can enchant plants. I think it costs like maybe 5 fairy dust to... Yeah. Oh my god, you can just go around and collect fairy dust. And then you can enchant the plants. And then even as a human sim or any other occult, you can get around that gameplay. I mean, it does make the game easier, so some of you might not like that, but honestly, it's always annoyed me, so I am here for it. Now, I did just have Faye dive in the dumpster because I want to see if one of the fairy abilities, the manipulation, actually means that you physically don't have to, like, now either be in that career to repair an object, or if you are like me and have a mod to repair that object. Unfortunately, both of those ones that she got out of it are actually not broken. Great, now I need more rubbish on my lot. Love that for me. I imagine we'll be able to like clean this one up. I was really wanting an item that I know that we can't do this with. But if we go manipulate object, we can set that to clean, and then we can also set that to not broken. Oh, Victoria, back off, girl. I'm trying to clean it. God, just because you're a proper sim. Do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, use a little bit of fairy magic. Kapow! Not broken, not ugly. We got a coffee table. Okay, this is gonna be a good test for seeing if fairies can actually fix up these objects. I swear, I'm just gonna make like fairy sims, give them the manipulation ability, have them look like sims the entire time, not use any other magic, just the manipulation. Oh, I feel bad because I rank this so low on my tier ranking of fairy powers, but if I had related it to obviously being able to do this from dumpster diving, which is something I've been wanting to do since I got my hands on eco lifestyle, I probably would have ranked it a little bit higher. Manipulate object. You can't do it. Okay, I mean, the point stands. Honestly, yeah, it's absolutely sucks. I do have a mod in my game right now. That's why you're seeing like the clean. That is bizarre to me. Like the clean replace is part of my mod. That is absolutely wild that you can't set this to not burn, even though it like is pretty much already burnt and you can't like clean it. That is maybe it's just because they didn't want to make it easier, because obviously you do have to be in the career to invent that then cleans it up for you, but that is a little sad. I think that is a missed opportunity for people who maybe don't want to be in that career. Me specifically, this is a personal call out. If you have businesses and hobbies, you have the pottery wheel. I don't think you can actually craft every single one of the new pots. Obviously we did get like houseplants and like pots that are able to like stand on things, and you're still able to like water plants in them. That can be a houseplant or just like a regular harvestable that we already had in the game. But with the pottery wheel, you can craft 2 of those. So you can do the concentric tabletop plant pot. You have to be a skill level 3 and it costs 160 simoleons. And then also the terrasphere table plant pot. So only 2 out of the 4. So the 2 kind of like fancier ones, the boxy one and the elegant orb, you're not able to make. Ooh, use fairy abilities isn't listed as like a business activity. Werewolf abilities and vampires are both there. Oh, there we go. I spoke too soon. Use fairy abilities is in fact listed. Also, craft apothecary elixirs. These are for kind of your customer ones. Target customers. I'm assuming there is also for occults. You can also target fairies if you want to in businesses. I just want to see if you can have an apothecary shop. I'm fairly sure you will be able to. Now, I do already have a couple of emotion potions, so I want to put those like for sale on here, and then I guess we can also pick up like these apothecary ingredients and see if those are also setting for sale. And then we are gonna come in here. I actually have one of the ailment cures. We have the simoleon fever cure. We're gonna leave that there. Using like fairy powers and stuff isn't available here, so it's not like you can basically run like a healer place. It's not like you can have people specifically with ailments come in, although I think that would have been really cool as like target customers, considering so many people do have ailments at the minute, which they are trying to come up with a fix for like tuning that so that not as many people had it. I know that is part of the career, but it would have been quite cool. I guess you could just have this like actually on your home lot. I don't think you'd be able to set a business place as obviously a place where people could come and visit you, because they have to visit you on your home lot, but you could make this area on your home lot like specifically your apothecary healer place, and then we could potentially have some people come visit us, which speaking of, let me also join that career so that we can open this up tomorrow alongside having the career. We'll see if we can do both. I don't think you'll be able to have a work day whilst a business is actually open, especially considering it is one where you do have to really interact with people. Promote ourselves to a level 2, because that is when you can actually have people come visit you. Work is in 2 days. Oh my goodness gracious me. Right. We should skip ahead a little bit. This is where I break my game. It's 4 a.m. now, so let's open One Stop Apothecary and see if people start to come. Let's go talk up our business just to try and get a couple of Sims loaded in. Ooh, we got Jacqueline, who is a fairy. We also have Dakota, who is a fairy. This is quite nice. It's like spawning random fairies. I should have probably added browse and buy items. I already know that you can run a lecture on Apothecary. Obviously, it works the exact same way as like classes and lectures. You have to have a certain amount of these. You have to have at least 3 tables and a whiteboard to be able to do that. Start a class on Apothecary, obviously that requires level 5, and you can also do an Apothecary lecture at level 5, and you can also mentor people. I always feel like this is the case, but when you have a business that is a shop and a place where you can teach things, they always would much rather do the actual action than purchase anything. Like, you make your money through classes and stuff rather than them buying things. So we're actually just gonna stop that. I have removed them doing Apothecary as a customer thing. Right, we are going to see clients at Faye's home. Bit occupied right now. Should she still go to work? We can go to work, miss work, or take paid time off. So you can't have people come visit your lot whilst you also have like a business going on. I don't know if that was maybe because I had a lecture and it was counting that as like being a little bit too busy, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that we'd be able to have people come round even if we weren't doing a lecture. Ooh, okay. It looks like this sim is now having the cheeky little gander. Come on. I know you want to purchase some things. Get in there. Give me all your simoleons. Oh, yes. Okay, someone bought something. That was, I'm honestly not too sure what that was. She's just creating all these emotion potions. If only she would give them to me as stock. That may have been a cure that one of them purchased. Okay, so we're not in a lecture this time, but let's try. Yeah, so you're occupied no matter what. So you can either choose to go to work, miss work. You can't have people visit your lot whilst you have a business. But like I said, you can kind of use your imagination a little bit. You only get to see one client a day. So even if you choose to see a client in this shop and then just open it up afterwards, then that is something that you can do. I am so sorry to all of you who actually still enjoy doing your bucket list, but I went and wrote the perfect goal on every single one of these, and even adventure, which does have the spellcaster one, the werewolf one, and the vampire one, which is like make friends with or like be friendly with or woohoo with either one of those occults. There isn't one for fairies. So there's absolutely nothing to do with this new expansion on the bucket list. However, we are gonna check out the milestones. Manifested as a fairy, so became a fairy occult, and that I'm fairly sure is the only milestone that has been added. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are also a couple of sentiments. If you actually heal a sim from an ailment, they'll get like a friendly sentiment towards you. If you do a bunch of like mischievous and like bad fairy magic on them, they will actually treat you as a faux fae, which is a negative sentiment. There is also an enchanted sentiment. I don't know how that one's actually unlocked, but you can, if you have the option to like change someone's sentiments as a fairy, then that also appears. Apothecary was introduced, and someone asked if spellcasters could actually duplicate the ingredients, like the inner screen ingredients, and it honestly doesn't look like they can. Let me put that in our spellcasters inventory. No, we're clicking on this, and the only option that we have is to put in inventory. For the candles as well, obviously we got the flower pressing, which you can actually make candles on. I was wondering if you could then also perhaps make those candles if you had eco lifestyle on the candle maker. You cannot. That is not an option. The only way you can make those candles, either regular candles or enchanted ones, is if you use the flower press and not through this system. Which, speaking of eco lifestyle, someone also asked if fairies could make like a fizz based off an emotion potion. Oh, we don't have an emotion that can be bottled up. I guess just whilst we're out here, Jungle Adventure did actually introduce like these berries that you can find in the jungle, and they all kind of link to a different emotion. So Flutterberry will set your heart aflutter and can add like a flirty moodlet. Obviously you have the Museberry, which is inspirational. You have the Vimberry, which is energized. I actually want to see, so let's bring it to like halfway so we can see this go up or down. I just want to see if eating one of these fairy, we can duplicate the harvestable, but let's eat that Flutterberry and see if it gets up a fairy's emotional force, considering it is a berry that does actually have an emotion tied to it. So no, it does not. We are freezing to death, but we did get berry turned on. In our inventory now, we have a happy emotion potion, and then we also have focused, and I think we have 2 inspired ones. I just can't see them. So let's actually load ingredients. Let's see if those emotion potions can be used. No, they cannot. So emotion potions can't be used as an ingredient on the juice fizzer, which makes me think that there's not really a drink that will help fairies. And then let's also see the nectar crafting. Actually, when it comes to nectar making, you have to be the specific occult, and most of them unlock at level 4 of nectar making, so I need to cheat her skill. But there still doesn't seem to be one for fairies. Now this is actually quite interesting. When it's actively raining or snowing, I'm assuming that's also for the more extreme kind of things. Right now it is just a flutter. Before, even though there was snow on the ground, I was able to sleep here and we could have just like slept outside perfectly. But now that it's actually started to snow, we aren't able to sit outside. But I also, even though now we could just like teleport ourselves on the teleportation stone to the peak of Mount Komorebi, a lot of you were asking how easy the new natural living skill makes like scaling Mount Komorebi, which is usually quite a challenge. So I have 3 of my sims, a spellcaster, the fairy, and the werewolf, all at rock climbing level 6, which you need to be level 6 to actually like even start to scale Mount Komorebi, and we are gonna try and do an expedition. Now, some people have asked if like fairies can still fall to their death, which quite honestly is never a death that I have seen in my game. It's literally so hard to even witness that. Like, my sims have fallen multiple times, but they have yet to ever fall to their death. A lot of people probably watching this are probably like, I didn't even know that that was a death that we officially had. Now, I haven't climbed Mount Komorebi in a hot minute, so please do forgive me if I get some of this information like incorrect. I like mess up on a couple of bits. I have not done this in forever. Snowy Escape isn't one of my favorite packs. Love the build buy mode, love the creator sim. Think the gameplay definitely could have been so much better. So check excursion leaders climbing readiness, and then have a sim perform any exercise. Now do keep in mind, I do have a couple of harvestables. My skill is actually only at a level 2. So if it is snowing, this might not be great for us. And also our emotional force isn't great, but we can, I guess, kind of take emotions from the boys. Have a sim rest for at least an hour. So whilst we do have the emotional force, we do still have the energy. The boys are not feeling good at all. I mean, this is already pretty easy because there is a tent around here. So even if you didn't pack your own things, currently we can't sleep here. We need better natural living. I think I'm actually gonna up hers to level 6. This is when you get the no problem sleeping or bathing outdoors in rain or snow seasons. So we should be able to now, yeah, sleep here. Whereas if I have one of the boys, well, actually, annoyingly, we now can't sleep. I wanted to see if like the cold affected them, but now I don't have the option to have them sleep outside because it is snowing. I have to say, all in all, this isn't making it easier, but the boys don't have the skill. Like, to be honest, I think this is pretty easy anyway, considering like up on the mountain, there's stuff like set up for you to sleep in. And if we did have the natural living skill like up to level 6 for everyone, then this would definitely be a lot easier because they would be able to like sleep outside no matter the weather. But that I think is the only way that it's going to be easier to climb Mount Komorebi, because if you're anything lower than a 6, it pretty much always like snows around here. So it's going to be difficult. Put short by bad weather. Sims with higher natural living skill gain the resilience to sleep through rain, snow, and extreme temperatures. It helps with being able to sleep, and it helps with being able to like pee anywhere, because obviously if we weren't a fairy, we'd be able to summon a privy bush, but you can't really shower anywhere here, so it doesn't help with like your hygiene need, which to be fair, I feel like that's not going down super quick, even if you are like climbing mountains. All in all, I wouldn't say the natural living skill makes this any easier unless you are that level 6 and then you can sleep more. He's also feeling uncomfortable from having a rough rest. Obviously also now freezing since I put him into his regular clothes instead of his cold weather fit. At some point in the natural living like skill growing, in the notification it does tell you that you can no longer like be affected by extreme weather, which of course in turn means you are less likely to overheat and way less likely to freeze to death. I just can't off the top of my brain remember what level that is. Honestly, all the same suspects that we are used to seeing with Get Together. You can pick the new traits, disruptive, mystical, and plant lover as club requirements. You can also choose fairy under occult, and then you can craft apothecary elixirs, which is listed I think it was under hobbies originally. Then you also have use fairy powers, which is listed under mischief and mayhem, and of course build natural living skill, which was under the outdoor option. So I guess that does tie in quite nicely if you wanted to with like outdoor retreat. If you maybe want to have a kids club like brownies or guides, you know, scouts, then that is something that you could definitely do. Even if you just want like survival skills as like a children or like a teen group, this is a pretty nice option to have. And there we have it. There is all the cross pack that you lot wanted to see, and that was also lurking in my brain whilst I was like playing early access and wondering how these were gonna like integrate with one another. A few little surprises that I wasn't expecting. I have to say, I think that like potion that we were able to make with the spellcaster was probably the biggest shock to me. Nice to see that this time around we did actually get weather in the new world. I know a lot of people didn't like Ravenwood or Businesses and Hobbies world for that, but I of course would love to know what you all think. If you have any more questions and they don't take too long for me to figure out, I will try and get back to you on that. There were definitely still some missed opportunities in my opinion. I think honestly the eco lifestyle, like being able to clean up those objects would have been so nice, and I know for some people they might have said, well, that defeats the purpose of the eco lifestyle career. Be honest with me, how many of you have played with that career since the pack came out? Because I can safely say, even though I always want to fix up furniture, I still haven't really played with that after I did like my let's play and stuff. So maybe that's on me, but I do think they could integrate these things just a little bit better. I also don't think you can glaze the pottery pots that you can make, like the plant pots, because they only have one color, I'm fairly sure, in build and buy mode anyway. Is there anything that you would have expected that maybe we couldn't do? Unicorns, I mean, we all knew that they were a missed opportunity in The Sims 4. Not helping the horse ranch case, but I appreciate you all so much, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.